There couldn't have been a show more tailor-made for me. So Wu Assassins is now streaming on Netflix and focuses around a warrior chosen as the latest and last Wu assassin who must search for the powers of an ancient triad and restore balance in San Francisco's Chinatown. Now, Wu Assassins was a series I was looking forward to for a really long time because this is just my perfect kind of show. A martial arts action show starring my boy Iko Uwais on Netflix. This was just exactly a type of show that is built for me. This is a show that is just injected into my veins and I love beyond all regard. And that is exactly what Wu Assassins is. So strap yourselves in, this is going to be a biased review and I do not care. Firstly, we need to talk about the god himself, and that is Iko Uwais. Iko Uwais is just brilliant in this series. I mean, yes, his acting isn't exactly the strongest in English. I believe English is like his third or fourth language. So his acting in English is never exactly the strongest as it would be if he was talking in Indonesian, which is his native tongue. But I don't come to these kind of things for Iko Uwais' acting. I come here to see him kick ass, and that's exactly what he does in this series. His action scenes are absolutely phenomenal. You can see how great of a fighter he truly is, and also his acting isn't exactly bad. I think he really sold the scenes that he was trying to do, and on top of that, just mix that in with his action sequences, and you've got an incredible performance from him that really delivers for this particular series and what it was going for. The whole cast in this series are just so likable. I loved all the characters in this. There is not one weak link among them. They are just so likable, such engaging characters that you just absolutely fall in love with instantly. And unlike something like The Boys, which I reviewed, that was my last review, that obviously has really good characters, but characters that you do not like. But this show has characters that you absolutely love because they are just so great and you love them, you want to support them, you want to root for them, and anything that happens to them, you are so invested. And it's just, I was so captivated by all these characters. I love all of them. I can't wait to see where they all go in season 2. They're all brilliantly performed. They're just awesome characters in general, and I cannot wait to see where the story takes them going forward if the show does get a season 2. I also just really enjoyed the story of the show, someone being the chosen one, having to take down all these different, ancient triad members. It was just really interesting in that regard, and I feel like this show introduces a certain element, which, for me, if you introduce this thing into your show or movie, you instantly have me hooked, and that is elements, elemental elements. So, your fire, water, earth, air, that kind of thing. If you introduce that into your show or your movie, you will have my attention, and this show has that, and I thought it was just so well executed. It was so much fun. It added a bunch of mystery to the show. It added a bunch of fun, visual effects to the show. And I feel like, again, if you introduce that kind of element into your show or film, you will really up the ante, especially for me personally. And I feel like that this show did that so well. And again, without that element, I still would have loved the show, but this was really like the little icing on the cake. The elements that you have in this show are fire, water, earth, metal, and wood. And they are just so cool. All of them are so cool. Every single character has kind of a connection to one of them. And also every Wu, as they are called, have their own powers. And especially when you're going through the season, you're meeting each one of the Wus. It's so interesting as you're constantly looking at new characters who are introduced, going, are they a Wu? Are they a Wu? And you're constantly guessing. And you're also trying to guess, well, which Wu would they be? Which one fits them the best? Have we got any hints as to what they could be? And I think that particular guessing game really gave the show a kind of engaging element that I haven't really seen in a while. And again, it's just adding that elemental element for me personally that really gave the show an extra notch. And of course, with a show like this, with a cast like this, you are going to expect incredible fight scenes and incredible fight choreography, and that is exactly what you get with Wu Assassins. All the fight scenes in this are just incredibly well executed, incredibly well choreographed, and incredibly well performed by everyone involved. Especially in particular, obviously, Iko Uwais, we all know he can fight. If you've seen The Raid, The Night Comes For Us, Headshot, any of those kind of movies, you know what Iko Uwais is capable of, and that's exactly what he pulls off here. So it's no real surprise with him. But also, I was surprised by all the other cast members. Everyone who they have in the show can fight. Whether you're looking at Catherine Winnick or Lewis Tan, all these guys can just fight extremely well, and I didn't expect that at all. Like, all these characters, pretty much, bar a couple, can fight incredibly well and can get involved in the action, and that is not what I expected. I kind of expected Iko Uwais to be, just the main fighting guy and he was going to be fighting all the villains, but pretty much everyone gets a fight scene in this. Like, everyone gets a good, decent fight, usually multiple fights for most of the characters, and I didn't expect that, but it adds a bit more fun to it, and also means that there isn't really any characters who are damsel in distresses. They all can kind of handle themselves, and I really appreciated that because it kind of moved away from any of the cliches that we could have got should they have not been able to fight. And this show just went by like an absolute breeze. I was blitzing through this show throughout a weekend. It's 10 episodes long, which at first I thought was a little scary. I didn't really like the idea of it being 10 episodes, but I think it justifies those 10. I think the story is good enough to warrant those 10 episodes, and I also feel like, the show's pacing perfectly pans out those 10 episodes as well. I was never bored for a millisecond watching the show. I was constantly engaged, constantly on the edge of my seat, constantly invested in the story and the characters. So for me, the 10 episodes, while again, were a bit of a tiny scary thought, not a huge scary thought. I wasn't worrying at 22 episodes or anything like that. But the 10 episodes were a bit of a worry for me, but that quickly ebbed away when I realized how just goddamn entertaining this show is. And what makes this show extremely entertaining is that it just gives the audience what it wants. Like, you're watching the show and you're thinking, oh, wouldn't it be cool if that happened? And then it happens. And then you're thinking, well, wouldn't it be cool if that happened? And then they do it. And it keeps going up and up. It keeps escalating and escalating and escalating to a point where you're just absolutely bewildered by the entire show, because you're like, I just can't believe it's like, it's like it's listening to me. It's like it's listening to the audience. It's like it's just hearing you from the TV, screaming at it, and it just takes those words and just puts it on the screen. I could not believe, everything I was thinking, all the theories I had, all of the things that I think would be cool for the show to do, they did within the season. And that, I think, is extremely gratifying. It makes the show so satisfying to watch, because you're constantly thinking about all these cool and interesting elements they could introduce, and for me, they did everything I thought of, and that is just, again, extremely gratifying and made the show so entertaining to watch. The only negative I would really give this show is the CGI. The CGI is kind of bad at times. There are times when it's not too bad. There are a couple of fire effects that don't look terrible. Sometimes some of the water effects don't look terrible, but for the most part, it looks really bad. A lot of the CGI is pretty bad. Especially there's kind of this, you would have seen it in the trailer, there is a face morph thing that goes on in this show, and that looks honestly terrifying. It's borderline Cats territory. It's really, really scary to look at. But besides that, and besides the CGI, I honestly think that this show is just a great time and just brilliant fun. And other than the CGI, which personally I didn't find distracting at all, there's not really anything else that I really thought was bad or weak or, just any lesser for the show. Oh, and also I have to mention the soundtrack. Soundtrack is brilliant in this show. Just all the music just fits so well, fits all the scenes. In particular, there's a cooking scene, I believe in episode 3, maybe episode 4, and the song they use in that cooking scene with Iko Uwais, it's just fantastic. I've been listening to it non-stop ever since, and just the whole soundtrack's like that. So make sure after you listen to this, once you watch the show, make sure you go download the soundtrack as well, because it is just pitch perfect. Overall, Wu Assassins was just, as I said right at the very beginning of the review, it's just a TV show that's tailor-made for me. As you would have been able to tell throughout this review, I've been getting very excited about this. If you've been following me on Twitter, you have not seen me shut up about it. I am slightly obsessed with the show right now, and I'm very, very sad that it's over for me right now. I am desperately hoping that we get a season 2. From what I hear, the show has done quite well on Netflix, so I'm really hoping that all that attention can drive it to a season 2, because this show, it just deserves so much love, so much attention. You can see how passionate everyone is about it. You can see how excited everyone is about it. And if you are into this kind of thing, you will absolutely eat up this show. Like I say, if you're a fan of martial arts movies, martial arts TV shows, if you're a fan of Iko Uwais' work material, if you love The Raid, if you love Headshot, if you love The Night Comes For Us, you will really appreciate this show. And again, also, I'd say if you're a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, you will also really like this show because of the elemental side to it. I really feel like this show has given me the hope and also the faith that Netflix can successfully make a live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which they are doing. And I feel like that this show has proved that they have the capability to do that. So I feel like everything coming together for this show was just perfect for me. I absolutely adored every single element. I'm obsessed with this show. I love all the characters. I love the story. I love the elemental side to it. And I just feel like this show, I'm honestly probably going to go rewatch it again at some point soon, because I couldn't get enough of it. It just was instilled into my veins. I loved it. I adored it. And I cannot wait to see where it goes in the future. And I really hope that you give it a watch too. So have you guys seen Wu Assassins? If you have, make sure you let me know all your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let's have a conversation about Wu Assassins in the comment section down below. Please do. And if you want to see more TV reviews, movie reviews, and related videos like this, be sure to subscribe. And I hope to see you guys again next time.